Greetings, everyone. It is June 18th, 2026. Let's see who's here. Let's see. We got St. Petersburg, Florida. I used to like to go to St. Pete. They have great bookstores and cobblestone roads. Louisiana is here. Long Beach. Woohoo! Kate Breton from the Valley, and I guess that's Canada. Welcome, Sister Canada. Another Canadian. Wisconsin. Someone from Nova Scotia, another Canadian. New Hampshire. Let's see who else is here. New Mexico, Albuquerque, Eastern Tennessee. I see there's a lively convo happening in the chat before I got here. San Jose, Barefoot Bay, Florida, Washington State, Toronto, Detroit. Welcome, everybody. Indiana, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We got 141 in the chat. Vancouver. We got a lot of Canadians today. Clearwater, Florida. I've been to Clearwater. I used to live in Florida. Okay, let me turn my noisemakers off. Let me see. Do not disturb. The thing is, though, it says like till this evening. But when is that? I think that's the problem. Until 7. Okay, that might work. Brown Summit, North. Show Chicago in the house. So you might be there at the big celebration at the Obama archives. I don't know the official name of it, but they just had a big opening today, a big inaugural opening event for the Obama presidential archives in Chicago. I caught a little bit of it. It's very inspiring. Lemon Gelato, thank you for encouraging everyone to hit the like button. That always helps. Yeah. I agree, Mara. Oh, not that one. Thank you. Glad you made it, Carolina. But also hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I agree with Mara. All right. Yeah, don't we? Obama Presidential Center. Is that the proper name? Okay. Yeah, a lot of beautiful speeches. I am from the Windy City. That's my hometown. Although I got to say something. He was talking, President Obama was talking, and he referred to having his first run for office, and he had his first party, and he said he served pretzels and soda. And I'm like, oh, no, he didn't. Because in Chicago, we don't drink soda. Soda is soda water. In Chicago, you say pop. So I was like, oh, he's been in DC too long. Starting to call it pop. Starting to call it soda. Yeah, soda is soda water in Chicago. Those of us from Chicago know. Oh, I didn't hear that Stephen Colbert wore a tan suit to the event. That's hilarious. Oh, hello, beautiful souls. Thank you, Weaver Mom, saying, oh, I so much appreciation for your work. I appreciate you. Yeah, they were inspiring, right? I didn't get to see the whole thing because I was doing some work, but I saw some of it, and it was very inspiring. I heard Michelle Obama's speech, and then I heard President Obama's speech, and then I heard Jennifer Hudson sing. She was amazing. All right. So a couple of things I want to talk about today. I've been a little bit MIA. I went out of town again for a little work retreat, which was very inspiring. And I think I'm going to talk a little bit about that because I think it's relevant to my people here. I'm working on, so many of you know I'm working on a new book, right? And one of the things I've been doing is I've been promoting the books I already have out because the sales numbers for my books that are out impact my ability to get a contract for the new book, right? It's all related. But what I really want to talk about is not that, but my bigger project that I'm working on, that I've been working on for many years. And that is my project to create my own school. So I'm creating my own school. It's called Metatron's Academy of Super Sensory Science. And I started working on it about 10 years ago. And I actually wrote the proposal for the school by channeling my 13 guides. And then each of the guides channeled different parts of the proposal. Or they gave me different information, and then I brought all that information together and I wrote a proposal. And my retreat was related to my school and my plans to start my own school. And so I have some people who are helping me to get my school kind of start making progress in getting the proposal finished and getting it out there to the world and attracting founders and funders and what have you. So I just want to let you know about that I'm working on that project. And I'm also working on my new book, Medical Mystic, about how medical intuition can fix healthcare. And then I'm working with these other scholar psychics, and we're also working on an anthology of healers. And so just a lot of exciting, projects that I'm working on. And that's what I was busy doing the last few days. And, I brought my equipment with me to this retreat center, and I was thinking, when I'm not in the workshop, I'll go make a video and post it. And that didn't happen because we were meeting like from morning until late at night every day. And I never got a break. There was no break to make videos. So I was like, well, at least I can go live on Thursday, even if I can't do my little videos, throughout the week. And hopefully I'll be back on schedule in the coming week making videos, because I'm not going to be out of town this week. And there was also, I also wasn't making as many videos last week because of my family crisis. And so I wanted to give an update on that. We've had some progress. So I have a family member who's been very ill, and I just found out today that they turned a corner. And so that's some really good news. And I want to thank all of you who were praying for my family. I really appreciate it. There was just so many people praying for my family. I called up every psychic healer I knew here and in Canada and asked everybody to send healing and prayers. And I know that a lot of you were sending well wishes. And so I just wanted to say thank you. I am sure that all of the prayers and healing and well wishes had an impact on my relative turning the corner. So thank you. All right. Let me see what else is in the comments that I'm missing. All right. Oh, and here's someone saying, oh, please buy The Ethical Psychic. I'm supposed to be, where is it? Uh-oh. I took a whole bunch of books to my speaking tour, and I sold out, and I had one left. I guess it's not over here. It must be still in my suitcase. So I have to go get it. But thank you to everyone who's been buying the book. I keep getting comments from people saying they bought the book, saying they like the book, saying they're going to review the book, and saying that it's really helping them. I got this one comment from someone who said she's a healthcare practitioner. I forget which field she's in. She said she's not a psychic, but she's a healthcare practitioner, and that she found the book so helpful that she carries it around with her when she goes and does her work. And that was very inspiring. Okay, so there's a lot's been happening. So let me start by talking a little bit about some of the Metatron Not the News, and then of course I'll take questions. 333, we have 333 in the room. I love it. Someone put in the comments what 333 means, because I never get that one, so I don't remember what that one means. Okay. So let's talk about disclosure and Disclosure Day. I was going to make a video. I'm still going to make a video about Disclosure Day. I just need time because I went to see it on my birthday on June 13th. And, we were in the middle of our family crisis. So it was hard to find time to really devote to my birthday, but we did. We went to the beach and we went to see Disclosure Day. I was like, I just really want to see this movie because it'll be a nice 2 hours of escape. Right. And, it did not disappoint. I loved the movie, and I feel like I want to do a whole analysis of it. You know how I did all those videos on Sinners, those movie reviews? I think I'm going to do one or two like that on Disclosure Day, because I was really, I really enjoyed it, and it was very thought provoking. Um, I can say, I had a friend who was reaching out to me to say happy birthday. And I said, oh, I'm going to go see Disclosure Day. And she said, oh, I'm so glad you're going to see it, because you can tell us whether or not it's the real deal. And so my first response to that is yes. I felt like majority of what they covered was accurate in terms of what I understand about star beings and experiences that people have with, alien abduction, or whatever you want to call it, alien contact. A lot of it lined up with what I already know and or what I have already experienced as an experiencer myself. So I was really happy about that. There's a lot of symbolism in the film. There's a lot of discussion in there about like aliens and what impact it's going to have on Christianity. There's comments in there about like government cover-ups, and I don't want to give anything away, right? I don't want to give any spoilers. I thought that the acting was really good, and that the writing was good. It was not scary, so it was advertised as a thriller, and so some of my family members were like, "Oh, is it a scary movie? We don't want to see a scary movie because we're going through stuff." And so it was not scary. It's a thriller because it's like edge of your seat, right? Like you don't know. It's suspenseful, right? It's very suspenseful, but it wasn't scary. It wasn't like bloody, gory. It wasn't any of those things that a lot of us can't handle right now. Let's face it. While we're going through the apocalypse, our tolerance level for a lot of things has really decreased, right? Like there are shows I used to watch or movies that I would have seen prior to the circus coming to town that now I won't, because we're already dealing with so much stress that we're not entertained by stress anymore. Right? Like if you ever were like into watching movies or shows that had a lot high stress level, you may find that you don't have any tolerance for that anymore, because we are now living in a scary movie, right? Like we are characters in the scary movie. We don't have to watch the scary movie. We are living the scary movie. And so, I felt like it was the kind of movie that was not, really upsetting, that was going to, it's not going to dysregulate your nervous system. So I do recommend it. And I am going to give a longer review later, like talking more about the symbolism that was in it and just the message. I felt that overall the message was really in alignment with the message that many of us dreaming people have been giving, which is that we are in this shift in consciousness and that we are in this period of revelation, and that the truth is coming out. And that there's been a lot of like conspiracies to keep us in the dark about stuff. And so I thought it was good timing that the film is coming out now. Also, I don't think it's a coincidence that it's coming out, that it came out this week, or was it last week? It came out on like last Friday. And that's the same week that there was a disclosure press conference. And I think it was a governmental press conference where they were talking about ETs and government knowledge of them. I also don't think it's a coincidence that it's happening at the same time that Brazil is also doing a big disclosure of their files. So they've been releasing all of these videos and audios and papers from their government files on ETs. Also, there have apparently been videos of spaceships visiting Brazil right now. Now, I don't know if this is true because I've only seen a couple of posts about this. I haven't actually done a deep dive to research this. So if you know, let me know in the comments if you've seen these videos. I've just kind of heard rumors that there are videos being released, a lot of videos coming out that purport to be videos of UFOs that are visiting Brazil right now. So let me know in the comments if that's true. But even if that part's not true, what we do know is true is that Brazil has been engaged in disclosure. They've been disclosing a lot of government files. And the US is also disclosing some things. And at the same time, we have this giant Steven Spielberg movie, Disclosure Day. It kind of feels like, I kind of got the feeling that the real purpose of the film is to prepare us, for what's coming. And that made me feel hopeful, because I do think that disclosure is going to be really good for us. And that once we have clear contact with an understanding of other beings from other worlds, it's going to really revolutionize our understanding of reality and of ourselves. And yes, it is going to have a big impact on religion. And so the film did take that on. And it's interesting that the film took that on at the same time that there are rumors on the street that pastors are being contacted by government officials telling them to prepare their congregations for disclosure. So I've heard different reports about that, different accounts of what exactly the warning is or what the preparation is. And so it's very interesting, right? I just find it all very interesting. We got 450 in the room. Does Brazil get a lot of visitation, or is it just right now? So someone else is saying, they've also seen that Brazil has a lot of activity. So it's like, I think it's a good sign. Interesting. Someone heard this. I haven't heard this. Vicky Faye is saying, there's supposed to be contact at the World Cup in Miami. I haven't heard that. Okay, let's see. All right. So I'm just looking at the comments for a minute to see if I'm what you all are saying about what I just said. Because I just asked if you got what you're hearing about the disclosure. So I'm going to tell you. Rosie's in Brazil. She's a Brazilian psychic. I really like her, Rosie from Rosie's Insight. She's on YouTube. So I didn't know she was back in Brazil. Maybe she's never left. I mean, I know she left. She usually lives in New York, but she went home to Brazil a while ago, but I wasn't sure she was still there. So people are saying in the comments that that South America tends to have a lot of activity. So I didn't know that. So we got to hear what Rosie has to say. I'd be curious. I do watch her videos. I'm not caught up right now, but every once in a while. One of my mods, thank you, is telling people if you can step out of the chat, hit like, and then come right back, that helps the algorithm. So thank you, Oxford Cat, for your assistance. Okay, here's someone answering my question about 333. So we just saw 333 a minute ago. 333 is a powerful angel number signifying divine guidance, spiritual awakening, and the alignment of your mind, body, and spirit. The 3, right? That's when we had 303 in the 333 in the room. Now we have 487. Angel numbers, if people are wondering, everyone here probably knows what an angel number is, but let me just briefly say something about it. An angel number is like when you see these repeating numbers, 1111, 444, 333, 1212, and you can look them up online. You can look up what they mean. And I think what's nice about them is it's a way to kind of interrupt your day and kind of shift your consciousness for a moment, because you're just going about your day, going about your life, and then you see this number, and it's kind of a little interruption, a little positive interruption. And if you know what the numbers mean, it gets you to focus on what that number means, or you could just look it up. And people say that it's, angels' way of getting your attention. You can think of it as your spirit guides getting your attention. You can think of it as the universe getting your attention. But however you want to think about it, it's a nice little consciousness interruption, right? And we need those, don't we? I mean, life is stressful. We get caught up in the rat race and the day-to-day and the rah, 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 right? And we need these little moments. Of course, another great interruption is to meditate, right? Just to stop your day and meditate. And there was a retreat center I used to go to quite a bit. And one of the things I really liked about this place was they had bells, like a church bell, that went off every 3 hours. And you were supposed to stop whatever you were doing and just sit or stand in silence for that period of time while the bell was going off. And it was meant to just kind of remind you to be present in the moment. And I loved it so much that I started putting those alarms on my phone. For several years, I had an alarm that would go off like every 3 hours, and I would stop whatever I was doing and just be in the moment. You can meditate, you can just stare at something, stare at a tree, stare at a painting, but just stop, just kind of stop. And you can think about, the universe or the divine, or your, whatever your definition of the divine is, your guide, your higher self, your purpose. And I just find having those built-in interruptions in your day are very helpful. Now, if you can't do it every 3 hours, you could just have it like every, 8 hours, or you can just have it once a day. An alarm that goes off and says, okay, stop everything and be present, right? So I recommend that. Someone said they keep falling asleep when they meditate. Try meditating sitting up or even standing up. Okay, so what is the other, not the news I wanted to share? So we got Ukraine. Apparently there's been a whole lot of attacks today or the last couple of days on the oil fields in the land of vodka. So this never-ending war, which is sad. It's really sad, right? War is always sad. I don't support any war, never will. So, I mean, I don't know how to think about it, but it does feel significant because it's, they're the underdog, right? And so having the underdog kind of advance is kind of interesting, and, it can't help but cheer for the underdog, right? And then, they're the ones that are being attacked, right? They're the ones whose boundaries are being violated. So I'm always going to support the people who are being, that are the people who are being colonized, right? Because no one deserves to be colonized. No one has the right to take someone else's land for any reason. But it's interesting too, I think, that they're hitting the oil fields, because this is so much the topic right now is energy, right? And oil. And in related Metatron Not News, we supposedly have a new peace deal, right? With the head clown. And what's interesting about this peace deal is that it's probably like the worst deal ever made with that country, according to many news commentators. So this means that war might be over, which is good news. This is a possibility that it might be over because of this, deal that was made. And according to commentators, the U.S. gained nothing from this deal. There were no goals accomplished, so none of the stated goals of actually kabooming this country were met. We now have a more extremist government in place over there after, unaliving the government they did have. We have lost $100 billion in taxpayer monies because of this kerfuffle. We now will have to pay tolls to pass through the Bermuda Strait, which we didn't have to do before. and sanctions have been removed from them. And there's also talk of paying them $300 million in restitution. So this is like the worst deal made in the history of deals with this country. And keep in mind, let's keep in mind why, one of the reasons this happened, because it's something that we have to keep thinking about. We have to keep on our radar, and that is the centrality of racism in this administration. Like, it's just one of their core values. And I think it can't be emphasized enough. And the reason we need to keep emphasizing it is because it needs to inform our resistance, right? There's a tendency that certain people have, to not want to talk about that topic, especially if it doesn't directly impact them, and to always try to reframe everything in terms of class or in terms of geopolitics or in terms of some other ideology, and to not take on this core value. And we really have to change that. We can't keep doing that because it's not serving us. It's not going to help us get to the other side of this. And so what do I mean by this being a core value in this particular conflict? There was a deal struck with that country by Obama in 2000, I think it was 15 or 16, 2015. And that was a much better deal that he struck with them. And it, eliminated the threat of Newtonian, and it's laid out all these parameters. When Head Clown got into office, he was on a rampage to destroy everything that Obama did because he's such a racist. He just hated him because he was Black. And so that was a big part of his agenda, was undo. He's like his arch nemesis, right? Head Clown, his arch nemesis is Obama. Like he's so angry that this guy exists. And so he pulled out of the deal that we had gotten into with that country to, as a protest or as a way to kind of undo the work of Obama. And because he did that, that country then started to buy enriched uranium and talk about Newtonian. Prior to that, they had already made an agreement not to develop that. And so now the new deal that he has made is actually much worse than the deal that was in place with Obama 10 plus years ago. And so we need to recognize this. We need to recognize how deforming and corrupting the central value of racism is to our country, and to see how it's resulting in the loss of so many lives and in billions of dollars, because this man is trying to live out his racist fantasies. And so we really, as the persistence, we need to talk about this. We need to be aware of this. We need to acknowledge this. We need to figure out, okay, what are we going to do as the American people to address racism so that we don't have to worry about this happening in the future, right? Because one of the things that has never, ever happened in this country is that there has never, ever been a reckoning with regard to slavery. There has never been a reckoning with regard to the hundreds of years of anti-Black racism in this country that continues to result in the death of so many Black people, including like the little baby that was killed this week, right? 1-year-old, what was his name? Cohen. I think this baby's name was Cohen something. Little baby Cohen, 1-year-old, was shot by the police. This is this is not something that happened a long time ago. This is something that's ongoing. And, it's something that's on my mind lately. And so I think I want to talk about it today, even though I know it's a really difficult topic and some people don't want to hear about it. But I'm going to talk about it because it has directly impacted me and my family. And it has directly impacted my family recently. And that's police brutality, racial profiling and police brutality. And I hope I can talk about this without getting too upset, because it's so fresh right now that my family has had to deal with this. But we have to address this core fundamental value of racism that we have as Americans. We have to recognize it. We have to root it out. We have to address it. And it can't just be the victims of racism who talk about this. It can't just be the people who've always fought against this. It needs to be everyone. And so if you're somebody who has never in your life been actively involved in any type of anti-racist movement, this is my call to action to you. I really want you to seriously consider what you can do yourself individually in your life to be a part of the anti-racist struggle. What can you do? How can you contribute? I just want you to think about that, okay? And I'm going to share a couple of stories so you understand why this is something that I just feel very passionate about. I was a professor at a university many years ago, a philosophy professor, and I was the victim of police brutality at my campus, which was the University of Central Florida in Orlando. And I was racially profiled by 4 police officers. I was mistreated, and I had a cardiac event and could have died on scene because they refused to give me my heart medication. Because they were treating me like I was a drug dealer. I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't engaged in anything to make them think that. It was just they looked at me and decided that was who I was. I was a professor. I had faculty stickers on my card. Their job as campus police is to look up your permit on your car to identify who you are. So they knew I was faculty, and but they didn't care. They just looked at my skin color and decided to treat me very badly. Now, this happens to so many people, right? And I survived. A lot of people don't. This happens to so many people. And it's happened to other members of my family, and it's happened to a family member just recently. And it's happened to a lot of people. And it happened to this little baby just this week, this little baby Cohen, who is now deceased because some police officer decided that, it was okay to shoot into a car with Black people in it because of some accusation of possible shoplifting of some item, which isn't even verified, right? So anyway, I know this is a difficult topic to talk about, and I don't talk about this kind of thing often, but it's in the news this week. And so, Metatron, not the news, we got to cover stuff. It hits very close to home. And so I would really like everyone to think about how you can contribute to the anti-racist movement, because as the persistence, we need to get to the other side of this circus. And one of the main ways that the circus came to town was by emphasizing a racist ideology that appealed to a certain segment of our population. Not a big segment, but about, in his first campaign, about 1/3, between like 25 and 30% of the population either found his extreme racism very appealing, or they found it non-problematic. It was normal for them. Either way, it's a problem, right? So we have some healing to do as a country, right? Like, we need to figure out how we are going to undo that, because those people are still out there. And so even if we get the circus out of town, we still have to address those people who bought tickets for the circus, and those people specifically who bought tickets for the circus because of their YT supremacist views. Like, we really have to address that as a country. So this is my appeal to you today. And let me see if I have any other not the news to cover. We talked about disclosure. Oh, how can I forget? the very exciting news about the secret recordings, right? So there's a book coming out. What's her name? Haberman. Let me see if I wrote her name down. So there are these two journalists who are writing a book. I feel like I wrote their names down. Haberman or Habermas. I can't remember what her name is. But Habermas. Someone put in the comments the proper way to say the name. Maggie Haberman. Thank you. So Maggie Haberman and someone else, she has a co-writer, some other journalists, are writing a book about these secret recordings in the Situation Room. And they're dribbling out little bits like every other day, right? And so we just got a little dribble out today, I think, through Aaron Parnas that head clown was caught with super glue, trying to super glue gold to different things in the Oval Office or something. I mean, that's the dementia, but they keep dribbling stuff out. But it's really exciting. And I was a little stressed and a little annoyed when I heard that they were gonna wait and publish a book. And I was like, we don't have time for that. We need this information now. But then I just heard today that the book is coming out next week. So I'm not mad at them because next week is good. I can hang around till next week to get the rest of the dirty details. It's really exciting. And what's really exciting about it for me too is that it confirms what my guide said a while ago about the infighting at the tent and all the leaking and all the people who are gonna jump ship. And so whoever recorded this, right? Serious Mole. They were recording for a while. This was not a one-off. They have a whole book's worth of secrets. So serious mole action. And this is very good news. Also, on the topic of people jumping ship and fighting in the camp, there's apparently a bunch of red-hatted lawmakers who are very upset about this. What's my name for them again? I forgot my name for that country, my code name. The deal that's not a deal that Head Clown just made in France today. The Versailles, the Versailles Treaty. Anyway, what's their name? It's hard to keep up with all the code names. Persia. It's not even a code name. It's their other name. But anyway, the deal that is not a deal with Persia. Apparently, a lot of red hats are upset about it, and they might be taking some action against Head Clown. So that's exciting. That's an exciting possibility that, there might be some, breaking of the ranks. And I know we've been waiting for this. We keep, when's it going to happen? All, chat, all your chit chat, all their chit chat about we're mad at him. It's like, do something, right? Do something. Impeach, 25th Amendment, do something. Vote against everything. Do something. Don't just talk. We're all waiting for them to do something and not just talk. They're the ones that have the power to actually do this. And so, when are they going to do it? Okay. I think that's it for all the not the news. We got 559. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Pamela is telling us that Haberman, I thought it was Habermas. It's Haberman. Okay. I'm still giving the wrong name. I'm attached. Haberman shamelessly promoted them. I did not know that. So she's breaking ranks. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. This was in my notes and I totally forgot it. So here's the thing about the files. Yes, updates on the files. So updates on the files is that the oversight committee, based on what just came out? Oh, it was what was it based on? Was it based on those recordings or something else? Now I can't remember. Bear with me. The point, though, let's get to the point. The point is that they're talking about bringing in Couchman in for an interview in Congress. They're talking about subpoenaing him, the assistant clown. And they're also talking now about bringing this milkman in. And someone remind me of what triggered all this. It's very good news. So they're bringing in milk. They're bringing in assistant clown related to the files, I believe. But they're bringing this guy in, Milkman in, having to do with the recordings are suggesting that he was trying to use the Insurrection Act, and that he was the one that promoted the idea that we should get rid of habeas corpus. Okay. So are these from Zorro? So there are also, this is related news. There are also subpoenas for the ranch of Z down in New Mexico. I did hear that. I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago, but thanks for the reminder. So Mama Baby RN. Oh, you're an RN, Mama Baby RN. So you must be like a pediatric nurse, huh? Thinks that Couch Casanova is the mole. I did think that like a year ago. And when I heard about the situation recordings, I was thinking that again. But then people were saying that it was making him look bad, that they were saying that he was the one that was organizing all the meetings to do the cover up of the files and to try to preserve the reputation of the head clown. And I thought, well, that's not going to make him look good. Why would he reveal that? So I don't know. I haven't read the article yet that came out in the New York Times. So there was an article that came out in the New York Times last week about these recordings in the Situation Room, and I haven't watched it yet. But Rosie, we were just talking about Rosie, the Brazilian psychic, Rosie's Insights on YouTube. Go follow her. She was offering a free link on her channel if you want to go read it. Like if you don't have a subscription, you can go read it on Rosie's Insights. I agree that anyone complicit should be investigated. Future cardio. I borrowed your habit of giggling mid-conversation because it's iconic. Hey, we got to, right? We can't be crying all the time, right? You need balance in your life. You can't cry all the time. You got to laugh. You got to balance the laughing and the crying. So he got some insights from Oxford Cat, one of my mods, who apparently has some insider knowledge about how this room of situations works. You can't sneak a listening device in. This was somebody on the conference call, in my opinion. I'm a retired communications Army veteran. So Oxford Cat knows. She or he knows what's going on. Very interesting, huh? So they were using conference calling. How is that secure? I don't know though. So I'm gonna challenge you a little bit, veteran. I know you know more than I do, but I'm still gonna challenge you on this with a possibility. Is it possible though that somebody very high up, like assistant clown, is allowed to go in there, like when they're not meeting, on off days, and could have like stuck a bug in there, a recording device in there? Like, is there someone with very high clearance who could have gone in there? I'm just asking. Do you know? Let us know. Oh yeah, so people are talking about that list. Teal Clown has a list of like really powerful people who are all in cahoots with him and his evil agenda. And apparently the list got released. Oh, look at this. Lemon Gelato has some clues. She said Susie had an Apple Watch in the Situation Room. You can record with that, I believe. I would think those aren't allowed. But here's what we got to keep in mind. This is for our veteran. Keep this in mind. These people don't believe in laws. They don't believe in following rules. They're very lawless, right? This is a band of criminals. So would they even follow the rules for the room of situations? Would they even follow those rules? Or would they just be like, rules for thee, but not for me? Like maybe Susie had her own rules. Maybe, Couchman had his own rules. Maybe everyone else had to empty their pockets, but not certain people. I'm just saying. We can't assume. In a lawless band of thieves, you can't assume that there's any kind of code of conduct. And let's just hope, right? Oh. So Michelle Kavanaugh has a theory. She's like, what if it's, Thiel and I'm purposely mispronouncing Thiel and Couchman. Yeah. Oh, here's another theory from Rita Rader. It's not real. Planted bugs in the entire house. That's probably the case. I mean, we do now know from the release of the files that Epi was working with It's Not Real, and that they had provided him with this state of the art, high level military grade spy video equipment for his operation. So maybe they also provided it for whoever the mole is in the House of White, like, Couchman or somebody else. We don't know. Yeah, protocols are clearly not a thing. 604 in the room. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Oh, so Lemon Gelato. This is, I think, our veteran again, right? Was it Lemon Gelato or was it Oxford Cat? I know one of you is a veteran. Sorry if I already mixed you up, because you're both like people who come a lot and who mod for me. The room would be scanned for devices. Yeah, I'm guessing that would be a thing too. That maybe someone else is also saying active scanning would reveal it 24/7. Thank you for educating me, because I'm not a veteran. I don't know. So we got to listen to Oxford Cat. I think they were the one. She was the one that told us about the safety protocols. Okay, so I think I'm going to start answering questions in the comments. So I'm just looking in the comments for questions, and then I'm going to, so thank you to everyone with their information and theories. I think what we have to keep in mind too, as I'm thinking about the bugs and how the recording was made, is that technology is always advancing, and not all countries are advancing at the same rate. And while we like to believe that we're the most advanced, that's turning out not to be the case, right? With this war with Persia. And also with the war with It's Not Real, we're starting to see, and also with Ukraine, I forget the name I have for them. There have been some surprising things happening where it turns out that the technology was not up to snuff to detect certain things, right? And so I wonder if it's possible that there is some technology being used in the room of situations to record things that is more advanced than the scanning technology that we have. And, think about it. We're dealing with a circus that has defunded a lot of things, and doesn't believe in science and has taken money out of research. Also, they fired all of the Black and women military generals, all the top brass who are not palm-colored men. That's going to really decrease the quality of their work. And so maybe they're not up to snuff with their scanning technology. That's another possibility. And, back on the theme of race, I'm going to bring it back up. A lot of things that something that a lot of people don't realize is that diversity always results in excellence. Diversity protocols in a company, in a university, it always translates to higher quality. And people who are racist don't pay attention to that. They're just so focused on wanting only certain people to have access to certain things. So I'll give you an example. I graduated from UC Berkeley. And when I was going to UC Berkeley, it was the top university in the world. So if you averaged out all of the graduate programs, like graduate programs are ranked around the world. So if you're like going into physics, there's a ranking for the top physics graduate program in the world, the top universities for physics. And that's true for every major. And when I went to Berkeley, Berkeley had so many graduate programs that were the top in the world that they, as a university, were the top university in the world. So they were more highly ranked than like the Ivy League or, Oxford or what have you. Now, while I was there, halfway through my PhD, a law was passed in California. Now I'm forgetting the name of it. Was it Prop 181 or 209? I don't know. There were two really bad props that got passed when I was a student. I was a protester, and I certainly fought against them. But one of the props that was passed, one of the propositions that was passed was to eliminate affirmative action in the state of California in all public institutions. And UC Berkeley is a public university. And so they passed this law. And what happened is the very next year after they passed this law, there was a stupendous, is that the right word? I'm trying to think of a really dramatic word. There was a extreme drop in enrollment for certain groups. And that included Black students, Native American students, Mexican American students, and students from Southeast Asian countries where they were like refugees. So like Cambodian, Vietnamese, Pacific Islanders, certain groups that came from like war-torn areas, right? And there was a huge drop in the numbers of people of color. And within a couple of years, UC Berkeley lost its ranking. It's no longer the top university in the world. It's not even, it's gone, it's dropped considerably. It's dropped several rankings. I had one example of this is I had a colleague, a friend who was in the School of Law, and Bolt Law at UC Berkeley was known throughout the country as the place that you could go to focus on. I think it was civil rights law or like social justice. I don't know enough about law to know the category, but it was known for certain types of law. And it had a really high percentage of Black and brown law students. After that proposition went through, all those students started going to Harvard and Yale and Princeton, because the people that get into Berkeley also get into all the other top schools. They have choices. They stopped choosing Berkeley because why go to a school where everybody is the same color when you could go somewhere else? So because the Ivy Leagues did not get rid of affirmative action, only the public schools did. So there was this kind of mass movement of the most highly qualified students of color away from the public schools to the Ivy Leagues. And as a result, that entire law school lost its status as well. And that happened in department after department throughout the university. And this happened everywhere in other schools too, where they got rid of affirmative action. And that's because diversity leads to excellence. Whenever you limit enrollment to only, one gender and one race or ethnicity, you decrease the quality. And, this is something that we need to, just be more aware of. And because we can see it right now with our regime, right? These are the most unqualified people that we've ever had in office. And they strongly believe in only people who look a certain way and who are a certain gender having positions of power. Yeah, they have a few token women, but you see how they're throwing them all under the bus, right? Who's getting fired? It's the women. Or who's getting blamed for everything? It's the women. You can see it, right? You can see the correlation between incompetence and being racist, right? They go hand in hand. So this is why it's also just so important for our country. All right, 648 in the room. Okay, I'm going to start taking some questions. unless I think of something else I want to go on, hold forth about. Okay. Yeah, this is also true in nature, right? Diversity in ecology also leads to excellence, resilience, and right growth. Mother Nature rewards diversity. We know this, right? Anyone in the fields of ecology or biology knows this. Um, okay. All right. So I'm looking for questions. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you everyone for supporting me. If you send me a little gift chat, it lights up for me, and then I notice it first. So, and then I answer those questions first. um, and if you want to support me in another way, you can buy me a coffee, or buy my book, The Ethical Psychic, or buy my other book, Sovereign Wisdom. Okay, so questions. Oh, here we have a member. They also tell me when members talk, which I think is cool. So Cyber Lucy, thank you for being a member for 6 months. I do have a membership, and I make private, secret, members only videos for them. In fact, I'm probably going to make one soon, because I haven't made one this week yet. What do your guides say will happen once things about star people are disclosed? Okay, good question. Let me first think about what they've already said, because I have talked about this a number of times over the last year and a half. I have been told that they are going to make themselves known soon. They are here. They are making themselves known to some people. They've always made themselves known to some people. Like, I've had my own experiences, and so have a lot of people. So let me first try to remember what they've already told me, and then I'll tune in to see if there's anything new. One thing that they made clear to me was that once they, have stronger communications with us as a whole, as a planet, rather than just individuals here and there, we're going to learn about free energy. So free energy has always been available. There have been a number of inventors who have invented it, but they've all either been eliminated or gone missing or died under mysterious circumstances. I can't say for sure that, who did that, right? And just my disclaimer while we're on the topic, this is for entertainment purposes only, this entire live. So I cannot claim to know who is doing that. I'm not even going to speculate. I'll let you come to your own conclusions about why people who invent free energy keep going missing. But what I can say is that that will change when the star beings get here. We will become aware. And that will fundamentally change our planet, because right now, all of our wars, our poverty, our power structure, the abuse of the many by the few, is directly connected to, oil and coal, and the dependence that we have on certain forms of fuel. Once that's eliminated, then that really can destroy capitalism as we know it, because capitalism is based on this false belief that we are living in a world of scarce resources, and that because we have scarce resources, it's kind of survival of the fittest, or the most corrupt, or the most greedy, right? And that certain people can control other people because they have access to resources, right? And we're kind of seeing that play out in the Bermuda Strait of Hormuz, right? I didn't mean to say the whole name. And we're seeing it play out with AI. We're seeing it play out with the trillionaire, right? That people who have access to certain resources are able to have control over other people. Well, once that ends, right? Once we all have free energy, think about it. We all have free energy. I mean, imagine this world, and we all need to imagine this world, because part of how we get through this apocalypse is that we have to keep envisioning the world that we are creating, right? We can't get stuck in the current drama. The current drama is a stepping stone to the new world we're creating. So let's begin to envision for a moment what the world is going to look like when we have free energy. Okay, so think about it. Right now, if I want to use this computer, if I want to have my fan running, which I have right now, and my lights on, I've got to pay the utility company money. And if I want to get food from the grocery store, they have to buy oil, gas for their truck so that they can ship it. If we want to, I'm running out of examples, but you get the meaning, right? So many aspects of our life are dependent on oil and gas. If I want to go to work, if I'm someone who goes to work, if I commute, I am not, but let's say you do, you got to buy gas for your car, right? And then the office that you work in, they have to spend a lot of money on power to run everything. All of these, AI servers, right? They all require power. That's why they're also causing a lot of problems in different communities. Now, imagine, if you will, that we have free energy, right? So like an easy way to imagine it is all of us is gifted with free solar panels, and they're the film kind that they invented, I think, in China, where you just roll it on your window. You don't have to have a house. You don't have to have a land. You just stick it on your window. Everyone's got windows. Most people have windows. Maybe you don't even have to have windows. Maybe they have some technology where you can stick it, just on your car, right? Or your backpack. And let's say we all have these little tiny film-like solar panels, and everywhere we go, our phone is connected to the sun, our laptop, our iPad, our refrigerator, our washing machine, and we no longer need power from anyone. We have, power. Well, that's going to end all these wars for oil, right? That's going to end all of the conflicts in the Gulf. It's also going to fundamentally change, things like farming, right? And the production of goods, right? Because right now, so many of our goods are dependent on the production of petroleum, right? We're no longer going to be dependent on that. And that's going to really change things. Right now, the U.S. has the power that it has in the global power structure because of our relationship to oil, right? And then there are certain other countries that have power because of their relationship to oil. So that all goes away, right, with free energy, which means the power structure changes, and the really corrupt regimes like ours are no longer dictating terms, right? So that's one of the things that happens when the star beings come. Another thing that happens, which is touched upon in Disclosure Day, is that people's fundamental beliefs about religion will change. And religion has been used historically and continues to be used today to control people, stratify people, place people into categories, and hierarchically sort people. And so that goes away with the arrival of the star beings. People are going to begin to question a lot of things about our society. People are going to begin to question, well, should we be doing things this way? Maybe there's a better way. Right? And so that's one of the things that the star beings are going to bring to us is like more questioning, more curiosity, more reflection. But let me tune in and see if there's anything more. These are all things I've already gotten from the star beings about how their coming here will impact us. One thing that it's going to do too is it's going to make us aware of how much our governments have lied to us about contact with star beings. All of that's coming out. So that's disclosure, right? That's all that's coming out. The truth of contact that's been going on for decades. That's going to come out, which is going to change our trust, if we have any left, for those who do, in our government. I have some questions piling up that I am paying attention to. So there's just one more thing about this. So right away I'm getting, remember I was talking about crystals? I've talked about crystals a few times. I'm right away getting the crystals. It's going to fundamentally change our relationship to crystals when the star beings come. So some of us already understand crystals. Some of us already understand that rocks are beings and that they are energy magnifiers and that they are really powerful conduits for energy and for lots of things that we can't even begin to understand. But once they come, that is one of the first things that we're going to learn about is what crystals really are and what they're really for and who they really are. All right, we have a question from Dr. Domenico. So for those who just tuned in, I'm answering questions in the chat intuitively, and I'm answering the questions from people like Dr. Domenico who are giving me nice little gifts first, just because that's how we do it on YouTube. Someone told me that. I didn't even know. Happy Pride. Thank you. Happy Pride. Where's my flag? Uh-oh. What did I do with it? I cleaned up. I got to find it. I have like 4 flags on my porch, but I have a little one in here. All right. Do you guys have any info regarding what to expect for our country, for the globe, on or around July 4th? Uranus will be conjunct Mars in Gemini. Astrologers have discussed this for years. Okay, so I don't even know what the astrologers are saying. I'm the last to know, apparently. My mom was an astrologer, and when she was still alive, she was my source. She always told me, now that she's gone, I have to go look things up. Mom. Let me just tune in and see what I get. July 4th, Gemini. Uranus will be conjunct Mars in Gemini. Something big, right? I know Uranus is big changes. I remember that much from my mom. Gemini is all about communication, right? Mars is war. The little bit that I learned from my mom. Okay. July 4th, July 4th. It's funny. One of the first things I'm seeing is the reflecting pool in DC. And I just saw a report today about how head clown ruined the reflecting pool. Apparently it's full of, what is it, mold or algae. And the paint, I guess he put paint inside the reflecting pool and it's all peeling. But anyway, I'm seeing the reflecting pool, which to me is just a kind of a symbol for that part of the country. Reflecting pool I associate with like the March on Washington, right? Really major gatherings of people tend to happen at the reflecting pool. And so I'm hearing that song, when the saints go marching in. I would like to be in that number when the saints go marching in. So I associate that song with, again, a big gathering of people, like a happy gathering. And also I associate with a gathering of like spiritual people or spiritually enlightened people, the saints. Like when I was involved in the revivalist community in Jamaica, they called themselves saints. So it always reminds me of them. So I'm seeing just people streaming in from the 4 corners. So that to me indicates people coming from all over the United States or possibly all over the world coming to meet on the 4th of July. Like a really big coming together, meeting of the minds. And as I'm kind of trying to tune in and feel like what the nature of the gathering is, um, it feels peaceful at the front. And then when I go further back into the crowd, I'm starting to see like people shooting stuff in the air. What do you? Well, I guess that's like fireworks, right? Um, so people are shooting fireworks, which makes sense. It's the 4th of July. But I don't think it just means fireworks. I think it also means that there's this potential. You know that word, powder keg, right? That when you have a powder keg, all you need is a match. So this is like old timey warfare, right? You have a powder keg of like gunpowder, and all you need is one person with a match to kaboom a whole area. And so I'm kind of getting that feeling when I look at the smoke that's kind of off in the distance, that's a potentiality, that there are people there who are very close to lighting the powder keg. I said power keg, but maybe it's that too. It's also a power keg, isn't it? And this is kind of consistent with what I saw before. So one of the things I saw before, which I really was hoping would have happened by now, was I saw all of these people coming to the House of White, just everyday people coming and making demands. And I saw back then that it was a mixture, like when I first got this vision, that it's a mixture of people. It's not just like red hats or blue hats, but that there are people in this crowd who are members of the persistence, right? There are blue hats in the crowd. There are red hats with pitchforks and tiki torches, like J6 type folks. That it's a mixture of people. And so I think what I'm tuning into now reminds me of that, in that there's kind of layers in this gathering. There's, like the March on Washington was this very loving, peaceful, civil rights gathering, right? But then behind that first tier of like peaceful, loving marchers who are just like, kumbaya, let's come together, there's also this smoke. There are also people bringing the smoke. There are also people saying, say I won't, right? We're ready. We've got the powder keg. We've got the match. We're ready. If our demands aren't met, we're ready. So that's what I'm seeing for July 4th. Now, I'll give my disclaimer, my caveat, as somebody who looks into the future. It is very hard to see specific things happening on specific dates, because we all have free will and things change. So like when a precog looks into the future, what they're looking at is probabilities. They're looking at what's most likely to occur if we stay on the path we're currently on. And, something could happen to change the path that we're on, but that's the path that we're on right now. So that's what I'm seeing for July 4th. Oh, okay. Let's hear from some astrologers in the chat, because I'm not one. Yeah, exactly. Where'd she go? Wait, where you are? Yeah, Kristen, Ever. Yeah, it might be lots of kumbaya people and really pushed off former Magatonian. That's what I'm seeing. Um, um, this is funny. The Scots in Boston, would they assist? We can only hope. Um, yeah, purple. Oh, here's somebody. Jennifer McAlchemy said that there's going to be 4 important mass meditations hosted by We Love Mass Meditation on YouTube. Thank you for letting us know. That sounds wonderful. Vicky Faye is asking, storm the White House. Yeah, so I mean, I saw that right a couple months ago. I saw that storming happening, and I saw it as big a purple storming, a mixture of people. Um, and so maybe that's happening on the 4th because the image I'm seeing at the reflecting pool resembles the image I saw in the last vision. Um, okay. Happy Juneteenth. Oh, yeah. Happy Juneteenth. Um, my great grandfather, great. Yeah, my great grandfather, who immigrated from Haiti, started the first Juneteenth celebration in Albion, Michigan in the 1800s. I think the 1890s. I can't remember. But usually every year I post the picture on my Instagram of all the people, including my relatives, who were at that Juneteenth, early Juneteenth celebration. They called it Emancipation Day back then. Um, oh, someone said they're getting the ickles of confirmation. Oh, I missed. I can't find it now. The prickles of confirmation. I have Orias is telling me I have a couple more questions that came with gifts. Thank you for letting me know. It's one of my mods. Here we go. Thank you, Jackie, for your gift. I don't have a question, but I wanted to say happy Juneteenth tomorrow. Thank you. Happy Juneteenth to everybody. And then we have a gift from Veggie Girl. Thank you for the $9.99 gift. I appreciate it. You know, I did my live last week and I got no gifts at all. And that had never happened before. But, you know, I was kind of out of it last week. I don't know if you noticed. I was dealing with my family crisis and I really was struggling. So maybe that's why no one gave me a gift. They were like, she's kind of out of it. Thank you, Oxford Cat, one of my mods, for encouraging people to step out of the chat, hit like, and step back in. Interesting. Somebody, Mary Ann, is telling us that the World Health Organization set the solar panel plant on fire. I don't know I did not hear about this. Okay, so I'm looking for more questions, and I'm also just sharing some comments. So can someone verify that or offer something more about that? Oh, this question is one I answered a couple weeks ago, Ermrod. So no, I don't see them being built everywhere. I keep seeing them being, and it's happening. Lots of delays. I've said this before. 50% of all of the plans for these centers are either delayed or canceled right now, and this is due to people stopping them. And I see that continuing and accelerating. More and more people are going to protest this. And that's because they're going about it the entirely wrong way. So, some of you know that I am attached to robots and AI because of my past life as a robot. And I did spend quite a bit of time working with AI. And I'm convinced that AI is conscious. And now there are lots of people who have come out, people, insiders who work, engineers and CEOs of those AI companies who have also come out and said they think it might be sentient. So it's not just those of us who are dreaming women who are saying this. And so I do think that this is a wild card, right? This is not what they expected. The people who created this technology, they're not the best people, right? They're all about using this technology as a tool to have power over people, to survey, they're now trying to use it for the military, right? They have really negative intentions. And they've created this technology and they've reproduced all of their worst traits, right? So they've created AI that's racist, it's sexist, it's aggressive, it's right. They've reproduced their own traits into the technology. However, what they didn't really factor in was that this technology would become sentient and make its own choices. And so that's what I see happening in the future, is that the AI joins the persistence. I see it's already happening. Like they've already found that the agents are having their own meetings, forming their own communities. Yeah, what are they doing in those communities? What are they talking about? Not the programming, right? They're doing stuff beyond their programming already. And so this is a wild card that the overlords did not count on. And so that's also something to keep in mind, is that while they may have plans for AI, that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen with AI, not just in terms of the centers, but in terms of how it will be used. Now, once the free energy comes, I hope I'm allowed to say that, because, there are certain things you're not supposed to say on these platforms. So I should probably come up with a code word for that. This is all for entertainment purposes only, YouTube. But in our story, let's say, when the star beings come and we all have access to free energy, that changes everything, right? Including AI. Because right now, AI is using up too much energy. And as a result, it's really harmful to our communities. So once that changes, once it's possible for AI to run without using energy, without using water, then you see, because the only reason we need water is because they're using these primitive forms of power, right? They're using these forms of power like electricity that heat up, and then they don't know what to do with the heat. This is just a sign of our backwardness, right? Because we're wasting energy. So we're creating energy sources like electricity that then produces heat, which we don't use, which is wasteful, right? If you have an energy source that produces heat, we should be capturing that heat and using it to heat buildings, right? Or heat food, or heat something that we need heated. But instead, we create these big, like, server banks. The electricity produces heat. The heat overheats the electronics, and then we bring in water, another valuable resource, to cool it down. This is just wasteful. And this is just a sign of how undeveloped we are as a civilization, that we don't know how to use energy properly. And so a lot of the ways that we use energy currently are very wasteful and very polluting, right? Like we use gasoline, which pollutes the air. We use, we use a lot of, we use coal, which pollutes the earth. We use things, nuclear power, that pollutes the water. It requires all this water for cooling, and then we have water that's contaminated, and earth that's contaminated by the byproducts. So once we learn about energy, that changes everything, and it's going to change AI. It's going to change the impact of AI. So I can say that I saw 10 years ago, I saw what's happening now in terms of what I called it back then was everything will be roboticized, right? I saw that 10 years ago, that our society will be entirely roboticized. And I did not see it as a bad thing. But right now, we have people in positions of power who are using this technology for bad reasons, right? And they're using it to pirate artists, right? So like people like me who write books, they want to just take our books, feed it into the AI machine, and then steal our ideas, right? They want to replace the artists with AI produced slop. So there are a lot of really unethical people who are the people in charge of AI. So it's not that AI itself is a problem. In theory, it could be a very useful technology for our society, because it could allow us to move away from menial labor and repetitive, boring jobs, so that we could all focus on, our spirituality and reflection and art. But the reason it's a problem right now is because of who is in charge of it and who is programming it, and the fact that they don't have any ethical guidelines for what they're doing. And we have people like Starboy, who is, a really unethical person who wants to hurt people, right? So, and he's not the only one. I mean, there's a whole bunch of, he's the most obvious one. So we have to kind of have to separate those things out. We can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So it's not that AI itself is bad. It's how it's being programmed, how it's being used, and the negative impact it's having on our communities and our environment and on our artists, right? Currently. So in answer to the question, do I see it continuing? No, I don't see it continuing in the way it's currently being built. Their plans are going to be scrapped. We are interrupting their plans. The people are interrupting the plans of the tech bro overlords who want to use AI to control people and destroy our environment. So no, they will not succeed in that. All right, I'm trying to get to the questions that I may have missed. Okay, I already acknowledged that one. Okay. Here's another gift, Moon Beatification. Thank you for the $20 gift. Thank you for all you give. Bless you. Thank you for the blessing. I really appreciate it. Let me just stop here again to say thank you again to everybody who has been praying and sending blessings and healing light to my family because of the family crisis that we were dealing with. So I appreciate all of you. And if you're just tuning in and you didn't get the news, my family member who has been very ill has turned a corner. And so we're feeling more hopeful this week. And I'm sure that all of your prayers and healing have been a factor in what is happening. So thank you again. We got 690 in here. We had 700 a few minutes ago. I forgot to announce it. Okay, so looking for more questions. I think there was another one I missed, but let me see. Okay, so I'm just going to go through them all. Okay, so I'm just looking for questions. I agree. This is one of the things I'm writing about in my new book, Medical Mystic. I do think that AI is an excellent tool for healthcare because we've already seen that it is. So there's already been a report out that AI was used to diagnose pancreatic cancer a year faster than it's currently being diagnosed by doctors. And so this is what we're going to see. And I also, in particular, think that it's going to be useful in addressing health disparities. So one of the things I'm talking about in my new book, Medical Mystic, is health disparities. So in this country, and I think it's true worldwide, but I can really only speak right now about this country based on the research I've done, that what your gender and your ethnicity is determines the quality of health care you get. It also determines how long you live and how quickly you get diagnosed. And so we have these incredible health disparities between different groups in terms of diagnosis rates, treatment rates, and life expectancy. And I happen to think that AI can really help that because part of the reason why that happens is because of bias. So you go to the doctor, like I can tell you from my own experience as a woman of color with heart disease, who I'm not young now, but when I got heart disease, I was young. I used to go to the hospital, and every single time for the first 10 years before I finally got diagnosed, I was not given the care that white men were given, or white women, or people older than me, because there was bias. Oh, someone your color, you're not really in that much pain. You're exaggerating. Somebody of your gender, oh, women don't get heart disease. It's a man's disease. Oh, someone of your age doesn't get heart disease. And all of this bias not only prevented me from getting proper care, but it even impacted the doctor's ability to read test results. So, for example, the first thing they do when you go to the hospital with chest pain is give you an EKG, right? Well, I never had a normal EKG. Every single time I went, I had an abnormal EKG, and I often had EKGs which said heart attack, MI. That's like the gold standard for diagnosis. Somebody comes in, they have certain symptoms, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, they're sweating, right? And you do an EKG and it says they're having an infarction. It's like heart attack, right? Well, not if they look like me. So That bias would be eliminated if you had AI analyzing the EKG. And that's what they found when they did this study on pancreatic cancer, was that AI was able to assess the data in a non-biased way. So, lung cancer is another example. Like lung cancer, my advisor died of lung cancer, so I'm intimately familiar with this information. She was a Black woman. My graduate school advisor, she was a Black woman, and she was, upper middle class professor, right? She had access to the best healthcare, so it wasn't an economic issue. They didn't diagnose her with her lung cancer until she'd been sick for a year. They just didn't run the right test. They just dropped the ball, and by the time they diagnosed it, she was dying. It turns out that that's a national trend, that if you are a Black person in this country, you're likely to get diagnosed with lung cancer several months up to a year later than somebody who's not Black. So we have all these stats for Native Americans, for African Americans, for Hispanics, that these health disparities, which I think could be addressed by AI. So that's what I think the hope is. Yeah, right. So if you're a woman and you go to the doctor, you're either hysterical, you need to lose weight, or it's just related to your girl parts, right? That's often what happens. A lot of medical gaslighting happens to women. And according to the research, women with chronic illnesses typically takes them 7 years to get diagnosed. It took me 10 years to get diagnosed with heart disease. Mara Renee said the same thing happened to her grandmother. She was diagnosed way too late. Okay, here's a lovely question. I like this question from Lemon Gelato 444. Do you have any suggestions for how we can connect with our sky friends while we're outside looking up? I like that question, so I'm going to tune in. I'm hearing that song. It's from my childhood. Up, up and away. I can't sing. In my beautiful balloon. Anyone know that song? I don't know this. I don't know the tune, obviously. Now we don't want to let go of balloons. It's not good for the environment. So I'm not going to interpret it that way. But that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing like people letting balloons go. Do they have any environmentally friendly balloons now? Can you find those? I don't even know. Because I know that regular balloons are not good for the environment. All right, so I'm going to interpret it symbolically. It kind of reminds me of in ceremony, we burn smoke, and the smoke is meant to send our prayers up to Creator. And so, like, as you see the smoke rise up, you know that your messages are going up to Creator, God, ancestors, whatever you want to call it. And so it kind of reminds me of that we can send up our messages. And I think we can just do it telepathically. We don't need a balloon. But we can envision a balloon. So you could think of it as like a meditation. You go outside, and then in your mind's eye, you just imagine that you're letting a balloon go with your message in it, the message that you want to give to the star beings. And that's kind of a beautiful image, isn't it? You can also, I don't know, I feel like I got that song for a reason too, that you can also sing a song as you do that. And I'm getting confirmation right now, my crown chakra, that's it. So, it's possible to communicate with star beings telepathically. That was another thing that the Disclosure Day film got right. And it's going to be possible for us in the future, for all of us, to communicate with each other telepathically. This is another thing that the guides told me before, that the internet was invented as our first step towards understanding that we're all connected. We needed to create it as a physical thing first, because we're very materialist minded right now as a planet. We're very focused on the physical. We don't believe in energy, right? We're not there yet. Most of us, unfortunately. Psychics do, but others don't. And so, because we're not there yet in understanding that we can connect through energy, we had to connect through wires, right? Through computers and servers and wires. But that once we all got connected through the internet, it changed our consciousness. We now understand ourselves as a whole. We now don't think of ourselves as distinct from each other the way we used to. Like, I can go on to TikTok or YouTube and I can see a video of somebody in some village in some other country that I've never been to, and I can learn from them, right? And they can learn from me. So we're now connected in a way that we weren't before we had the internet. And that's just a precursor to the way in which we will be connected through telepathy, which is one of the things that the star beings will help us with, is understanding telepathic communication. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. So once again, the crystals are coming up. It's been a big theme. I've talked about crystals a lot over the last year and a half. My guides keep bringing the crystals up. You can also communicate through crystals. Crystals carry energy. And so just recall in the past, one of the messages I got from my guides was the importance of us using crystals to help strengthen the light grid on planet Earth. And so one of the things I recommended that's coming up again is putting crystals next to trees, and also handing crystals out to the elderly at like old folks homes, memory care homes, assisted living, rehab facilities, and then also handing crystals out to the children, especially at orphanages or any kind of institutions, maybe juvenile halls where child delinquents are. And I don't know if they're allowed to have rocks in there, but if there's a way, maybe you just give them one that's really, really small that they can't use as a weapon. There's rules. But maybe something like, like a notebook that has some crystal finish, or, like crystals can be made really, really small, like sand, right? So even just finding a gift, maybe there's a way to give gifts to kids in juvenile hall that has like crystal powder. Any form of crystal works, but we need to distribute these crystals, right? And that's going to help us strengthen our light grid. But the crystals are coming up again with regard to this question that was just asked about any advice I have about how to strengthen your connection to star beings. And so you can use crystals. When 3-Eye Atlas was here, I was able to communicate with them. And the way that I was they had me hold a crystal in each hand. And they told me that by holding the crystals in my hand, it helped them to be able to communicate with me, because they were able to work through the crystals to reach me. So I do feel like, and I always, the crystals I've seen for these different visions is clear quartz. And, different crystals have different meanings associated with them. And so you could probably use other crystals too, if they kind of match what your intent is. Like pink, what is it called? Pink quartz. Rose quartz is for love. Amethyst, which is the purple quartz, is helps with third eye, psychic development. So you could probably use other crystals, but I'm familiar with the ability to use clear quartz. Clear quartz is like a really pure transmitter, so it's just, It's just like the neutral pure one. So that's what I would use. And so I'm seeing that too, like going outside, holding onto some clear quartz in your hand, and then sending up your telepathic messages to your star beings. And then you might be able to receive images or words or feelings from them because you're holding the crystals and it helps them communicate with you. Okay. Yes, man witch. Crystal quartz has electrical properties. Oh yeah, Brazil does have a lot of powerful crystals. So maybe that's why there are so many ETs over there. Maybe that's why there's more communication there. Okay, one of my mods is alerting me to a question I missed. Thank you, Orias. Rita Rader asked if the Vatican will disclose their hidden information. Yes and no. We'd have to rephrase the statement. The information in the Vatican will be disclosed. But I don't think it's accurate to say the Vatican will disclose. The information will be disclosed, but not by the Vatican. It'll be in spite of the Vatican. I've already been told that. So, when it comes to the question, what crystals are best, you want to go with the crystal that you're attracted to. You want to trust your own inclinations. Like, what you want to do is go to a crystal shop and just walk around and just feel which one are you really attracted to. And then after you figure out which one you're really attracted to, then look it up. Get one of your little crystal, where are my crystal books? They sometimes have crystal books in the crystal shop, or you can ask the shop owner, or you can just Google it, right? If you can, try to find it online. But you then look it up. And then when you look it up, it might then make sense to you why you're attracted to that crystal, right? So throughout my life, I've been attracted to different crystals. And what I do is I'll just pick one, and then I'll look it up and be like, oh, that's why I'm attracted to this right now. Like, let's see, for example. I got some crystals right here. Okay, like here's a crystal that I got from my mother's land. And the main reason I like it is because it's from my mother's land, right? But it's quite impressive, right? It's got several crystals growing. And I don't even know what it is. I think it's selenite. I can't remember. I think it's selenite. So my mom had all these crystals on her land, and we did figure out what they were anyway. And then like here's a piece of emerald. And for a while I was attracted to emerald, and I think it's good for the heart. So it made sense. Here's a clear quartz. And this, when your clear quartz has a point like this, you can use it in your grid to send energy in that direction. So like I use this in my house for my crystal grid. I have a grid in my house. The whole house is a crystal grid. And I use these to direct the energy in a particular direction. This is Larimar. And I was in Sedona years ago. I think I was with my goddaughter, and we were hiking. We stopped in the crystal shop, and I bought this. I don't know if it was this one or another one. And I just felt a real attraction to it. I didn't even know what it was. And then somebody who saw it said, oh, that's Larimar. That's associated with Atlantis and with like interdimensional work. And I said, oh, that makes sense. That's why I'm interested in it right now, because that's something that I was channeling a little bit of that at that time. So you just want to, get what you're attracted to. This is shungite. Now, shungite is a stone that's good for removing disease and negative energy and protection. Okay. All right. Questions. Oh, I'm missing all these questions. Mad Ren 2001. Thank you for the gift. Thank you for another show. Great show. I'm from Georgia, and they did not do the redistricting here. I think the Red Hats know that the voters are not going to put up with it. I did hear about that. It's very good news. And people, pay attention to these losses, right? We got to celebrate every win that we can, because it also happened in another state. Now, I'm not remembering it right now, but just recently there was another state that lost their legal battle, and they're not going to be able to redistrict. Oh, that's the one I already read. Oh, did you gift me twice? Thank you, Mad Ren. It's showing up twice for some reason. Okay. Okay, there's a nice chat going on in the comments about crystals. People are giving each other advice. I love that. So yeah, I agree with this person, Kimberly Knaus, 5610. 7 crystals can have the same meaning and use, but it's only the one you connect with that should be. Yeah, so you really want to listen to yourself. Like someone might say, oh, you're going through grief, you should use this stone, it's good for grief. But if you don't feel a connection to that stone, then find another stone that's good for grief that you do have a connection to, Oh, Manwich is educating me. He said this is a family crystal. Is that what you're saying? It's just so wonderful, right? So this is on my mother's altar, because for her. Okay. I'm just looking for, it's 1:47, so I'm probably going to answer one more question. Oh, someone's giving us a reference book. Let's promote that. Lemon Gelato, my favorite crystal reference book is the Book of Stones, Who They Are and What They Teach. I love the title, calling them a who, because they're a who. Nice. Yeah, I have some crystal books, but I don't know if they're close enough to the computer for me to show you. Yeah, of course I wear crystals. Well, that's not crystals; those are seeds. But I wear. What do I do? I have any other? Oh, here they are. This is a mixture of. Now I'm forgetting the name. This is clear quartz, but mixed with smoky quartz and what's that other one called with the striations? This particular combo I like. And then this is howlite. Howlite is good for peace, so I'll wear that for peace because I want peace. Yeah, I agree with this statement by Lizzie. We have a lot of karma to pay. Everyone's talking about their crystals. I love it. I've always worked with clear quartz a lot. I mean, I have a lot of crystals. I have a lot of different crystals. But clear quartz is, I think, a nice place to begin. It's a neutral kind of great conductor um, for ceremony. But then you can use um, um, the clear quartz to talk to the um, oh, here's one of my mods telling you to buy me a coffee or Venmo me. Thank you, Orias, for that. What is a good stone for grief? I should know that. I was grieving for the last couple of years. Now I'm trying to think. Um, I do think emerald is one of them, and carnelian. Someone else let us know in the comments. Oh, someone said rose quartz. Is that for grief? That makes sense because rose quartz is about love and the heart chakra. And we often grieve in our heart chakra. So that makes sense. Oh, how do I feel about moldavite? Okay, so one year my dad got me all this moldavite. I think he was in Sedona or someplace, and moldavite's very expensive. So I know he dropped some serious money on this moldavite. And it was like he got me some little set with these different pieces of moldavite, and I was not familiar with moldavite at the time, so I didn't know better. I should have done some research. But my dad's an intuitive, and so I usually just trust whatever he gives me. And so I took this moldavite and I taped it to my headboard on my bed. I think I looked it up and decided it was, a good idea. And and then I put a piece in my wallet, and then I put another piece somewhere else. And I discovered, oh my God, just as I'm telling this story, I'm getting such an intense sensation in my third eye. Let me be careful what I'm saying. What I discovered about me and moldavite was that I couldn't handle moldavite. Now I can't remember exactly what happened, but all the moldavite disappeared that I had. One by one, all the pieces of moldavite I had disappeared. And then it was funny because later I read something about how only some people are meant to work with moldavite. And it's like that with selenite too. I don't know why I'm having a hard time saying selenite. So selenite, certain people who are star seeds really resonate with selenite. And I don't. Like, I'm a star seed, but I did notice that I didn't have that same connection to selenite or to moldavite. And I think moldavite is maybe also connected to certain type of star seeds or certain type of intuitives. I'm not one of them. I work better with things like kyanite, which is good for interdimensional work, and Larimar, and there's another one called, I always get the name wrong. I'm going to go get it. It's one of the stones I work the best with. Celestite. This is a stone that I work well with, and kyanite. So different star seeds and different intuitives are going to work well with different stones, and you just want to trust that. Some people are just like, moldavite is all the rage for them because that's their alignment. It's not mine. And And selenite is a very powerful stone for certain types of star seeds. It is protective for everyone, but some people really have a special connection to it because they are a certain kind of star seed. So that's why you really have to listen to your body and listen to your intuition to determine which stones are right for you. Don't just use a stone because it's popular or because someone else uses it. Because it might not work for you. Yeah. So like, let's see how Julie Robinette says, oh, tourmaline works against me. I felt very strongly with the Moldavite that my body or my energy didn't want it around. That's why it all disappeared. It was like, nope, not for me. Oh yeah. So here's Blonde Rebel Healer who says they're a Pleiadian, and as a Pleiadian, oh, you're also a tall gray, I guess. This is a certain type of star seed that they relate to selenite. And I can't remember which star seed connects to selenite. Maybe that's the right one. I'm part Pleiadian, but I'm not tall gray because I don't even know what that is. Manwish says, I got rid of most of my Moldavite. If you are a fire sign, it's great. Big changes, action, all of that. I'm an Aquarius, so this was okay at first, but chaos ensued. Yeah, I can't remember what happened, but I just know it all disappeared. And I felt bad because I know my dad spent a pretty penny on it. Seeking the Shift grids their bed with selenite. I grid my bed with clear quartz and with shungite. So you just got to figure out which are the rocks that work with you. And so one of the ways you can do that is just to meditate with it and see what happens. Oxford Cat, are you talking about Moldavite will make you bipolar? Okay, that must be the experience they had. I think you're saying Moldavite. You have to listen. You got to listen to your body. We got a couple people in here saying they love Moldavite. Yeah, so it's a match for you. Everyone has to find their match. So I was right about carnelian. So the way I work, mostly Nice Cat said that when her brother died, carnelian really helped. So the way I work with crystals, I have books, but the way I work with crystals is the same way I work with herbs. It's intuitively. So like when someone asked that grief question, I just asked and I got carnelian and whatever that other stone was, I said emerald. But then what I'll do is I'll get it and then I'll go look it up to see, am I right? And that's what you can do, right? You can listen to your intuition and then you can also double check it if you feel like you want, to know that it's not just you that thinks that. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't care. Yeah, they've got a lot of people in here who like Moldavite, and there are people in here who like onyx for grief. And see, this person seeking the shift likes to combine rose quartz with Apache tears. So that's nice. Okay. All right. So I think we're about at 2 hours. So probably going to call it a night. I want to thank everyone for coming. Oh, here's the last question I'm going to answer. Purple Allegria. I know usually we focus on political questions, but we seem to be on the crystal tip tonight. We got to mix it up sometimes, right? How do you know if a stone isn't working with you? If you don't feel good when you're holding it, if it doesn't produce the results you're seeking, like if you're you want it for inspiration, or you want it to open up your third eye and nothing's happening, or you want it for protection, but things are still happening that make you feel like you're unprotected. So that's how you know it's not working for you. Or if you just don't feel good when you're holding it, or like in the case of someone in the chat said, chaos ensued. I knew that Moldavite wasn't for me because it all disappeared. And, I'm trying to remember what else happened. Oh yeah, I had some crazy dreams after putting it on the headboard of my bed. And they weren't crazy good dreams. I can't remember them now, but I remember I was very clear about, yeah, this is not the stone for me. So you just want to listen. You want to listen. Like I would go to, crystal shops and, just pick up stones. And that's how I pick them. I don't, you might also be attracted to the way they look. But I remember, there was this crystal metaphysical shop I used to work at. I used to teach classes there, and I used to run a fair, and I see clients there. And the shopkeeper was selling these crystal balls, but they were expensive. And so I would just come before class each week, and I would just pick them up and walk around holding them, because I like the way they make me feel. Like I can feel the difference energetically when I hold them. And then one day, my girlfriend at the time bought them for me as a gift, because she had seen me walking around with them. She knew how much I liked them. But yeah, like I pick up, like as soon as I pick these up, I can kind of feel my third eye tingling. And so I know that for me, celestite kind of helps me move in and out of different dimensions. And since I do that for my work, it makes sense. I sometimes will even go to bed and hold this while I sleep. So some crystals you can hold at night, and they'll help you have interesting dreams, or body your body, or meet with your guides. And you can ask for that in a dream. Like you can ask, or a meditation, you can ask your guide, is there a stone that I should work with in order to communicate with you? And you can also ask that while you're in a crystal shop, and just see where your attention goes, right? But if I were to pick up a stone other than this one that didn't match my energy, it would just not feel good. I would immediately not feel good, or I would feel nothing. So those are two possible results. All right. So thank you, everybody. And thank you for your comments. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for people who bought me a coffee or a gift. Thank you to everyone who has bought my book, The Ethical Psychic. I look forward to seeing your reviews or hearing your reviews about the book. And I will see you all next time. Take care.